The best three players in college basketball going into the 2023-24 season are Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and Paige Beckers. And they are all eligible for the 2024 draft. The question is, will they stay or will they go after the 23-24 season? And if they go, what teams would they go to and what would their draft order be? First, if you like this content, then please consider subscribing to the channel. As well, your poison is always welcome. Now let's get into it. Now, this question of if they will stay or if they will go is really a question of how attractive is the WNBA to high-profile college players, as each one of them has the option to go or stay. It's a no-brainer to go in the NBA as the money is so good. But as you are likely aware, the WNBA contracts, which go for 4 years, are garbage, as they start at $76K and work up to $97K if the team exercises the player's fourth-year option. As well, the contracts are not even guaranteed. However, once those players get through the 4 years, then they can get a big jump in salary in the $200K to $235K, depending how well they've gone and if they are a franchise player. So, in some ways, all these players are going to have to go through the restricted 4 years of their rookie contract. So, not surprisingly, their decision to stay in college or go pro will, in large part, be dictated on how the 2023-24 college season goes for them. Now, Angel Reese might be a slight exception to this case, as she already has a college championship. So her decision will likely be based on what is in her best financial interest. Now, in an interview recently, she basically came out and said, I make more in NIL versus what some players make in the WNBA. And then she was a bit like, the guy interviewing her sort of asked her how much she makes, and she was cryptic after that.
Because the money you can
The money
make,
I'm making is
right,
more than some of the people that are in the league that might be top players.
How much you make?
Huh?
How much you make?
Why?
You
Because
never
you
spill
want
that. You never spill that.
Huh?
You never
Spot him
spill
at
what's in
20.
the bag.
Spot
I
him
got
at
you.
20.
You got,
I got you some lunch.
You got me?
And that's the question. Nobody really knows how much these players are making from NIL. You can have all the projections you want, but until you see the contracts or anything like that, it's all estimation, so it's hard to know what is accurate and how much they're actually making. So I would think for the players, it really comes down, can they grow their NIL deals when they go to the WNBA and maintain the NIL deals they have? Are Angel Reese and Beckers more cool at UConn and LSU and Clark at Iowa? And will they still be marketable and as cool when they go to the WNBA? If you've been watching the news recently, the WNBA got clowned a bit by Jadon, the YouTuber, pretending to go to NBA games to cure his sleep issues. As well, they're a lightning rod for trolls, as Brittany Griner got trolled by the smirky guy in the airport. And you could just say these are one-offs, but overall, there is more exposure in college versus the WNBA. If you look at the 2023 Final Four, it crushed in the TV ratings. LSU, Virginia Tech averaged 3.4 million viewers. Iowa versus South Carolina averaged 5.5 million. Iowa versus LSU in the final averaged 9.9 million viewers. In comparison, WNBA Finals, Game 1, Aces vs. Sun, averaged 555K. Game 2, 649K. Game 3, 579K. And Game 4, 396K. Now, WNBA fans will argue that they would have gotten better ratings if it would have been Chicago versus the Aces, and that the college matchup was a dream scenario, but I am not sure that the WNBA ratings would have been much better with Chicago, as the WNBA insists on having their finals during football season, which is always going to hurt their ratings. The NFL is a monster that should be avoided at all costs by baseball and WNBA basketball and NBA basketball as well. But that is another video. I am not here to bash the WNBA, as I like the WNBA, and there are plenty of others out there looking to get views by doing that. That's not the purpose of this. I'm just trying to say the college game presents a better platform for players to make sponsorship money. Now, Caitlin Clark and Paige Becker's situations are more complicated than Reese's. Both of them want a college championship to complete their college legacies. Would they return for an extra year in an effort to achieve this? After the 2023 season, Clark went on the Dan Patrick Show and talked about how the WNBA was her goal ultimately, but she was torn on how much longer she would stay at Iowa, saying, "That's where I want to be, but I have another year here and possibly one more after that just because of COVID." She went on to say, "I will probably have to make a decision on that sometime next year. I really have no clue what I'm going to do, stay for an extra year or leave after next year." With Beckers, even if UConn comes up short in getting a championship, now settle down, UConn fans. This is hypothetical. Of course you're going to win the championship. Okay. Would she want to stay at UConn to get a championship and risk another injury prior to starting her pro career? That is going to be the question for her if UConn misses out on a championship and she has a good season. Now, the final and probably most important piece of if these players will stay or go is what team they would be playing for or where would they be. So let's take a look at this. Remember, the WNBA draft or lottery is based on the cumulative records over the last 2 years, with the team with the worst record having a 44% chance of winning the lottery, and then the odds decrease to 27, 17, and 10 for the 3 other remaining teams that missed out on the playoffs. So based on this, we have a pretty good idea of how the lottery is going to shape out, with Indiana getting a 44% chance again to win, as their cumulative record is currently 11-58. Los Angeles stands a 27% chance winning if this holds up, with a 20-58 record. Now they will need to continue to tank. And then it would be Phoenix with a 17% chance, as they have a 21-58 record. So it'll be a bit of a tank war between Phoenix and Los Angeles. And then the one heading up with the least chance would be Seattle, as they had such a good season last year. Despite their horrific season this year, they currently have a 26-58 record, so they'll probably wind up with a 10% chance. Now, for argument's sake, let's just say those percentages stay the same, and let's say the lottery draws as per the percentages, and Indiana gets the first pick. Well, I think the first pick, regardless of who scores it, will be Caitlin Clark, as she does not have any health issues like Becker's, and as well, the big concern with Reese is her outside shot. This would obviously be a great fit for Indiana. They would be drooling at the idea of pairing her with Aaliyah Boston as well. She's from the Midwest, so it just seems like a good fit all the way around. The other Midwestern team in a bigger market, Chicago, would not be an option for Clark if she stayed in 2025, as James Wade not only gave up the Sky's 2024 first-round pick, as well, he gave the Dallas Wings a pick swap in 25. So even if they are in the lottery in 25, they do not have a chance if Caitlin Clark was to stay in college. Well done, James. Enjoy your time in Toronto. Now, what would the LA Sparks do if they had the second pick in the draft? This is where it gets interesting, although the Sparks will need to continue to embrace the tank to ensure they don't lose out on the second pick to Phoenix. If Beckers or Reese have a chance of being drafted by LA, then I think they would have to leave college, as that market is just too big and irresistible to miss out on. I think if Reese felt like Beckers was going to be drafted over her, then she would likely decide to return versus going to Phoenix, let's say, if they were the 3, or to the Storm in Seattle. I think she would rather go back into the draft and take her chances in 25, when don't forget that the New York Liberty have swap rights with Phoenix, who, God knows, they'd probably be awful again next year. That could be a very good lottery pick as well. So I think Bayou Barbie might just wait and see if she can take on the Big Apple and hopes things go her way. So anyway, a bit of fun to play around with who they would go to, these players, if they would stay or go. Now it's over to you. Do you think all 3 players will come out in 2024? Or who do you think will come out? 2, if they all come out for the NBA draft in 2024, in what order do you think they would be drafted in? By the way, just to acknowledge, Athletic had Cameron Brink as the number 3 rated prospect on their draft board. I still think Angel Reese is number 3 and Brink is 4, but hell, argue that point as well if you like. As always, your poison's welcome. Thanks for watching. Good night.